The Cleveland Browns didn't just lose control of their locker room, they detonated it. And what's happening right now in Cleveland feels less like an NFL offseason and more like the opening episode of a sports documentary titled How to Collapse a Franchise in 14 Years. This isn't anonymous leaks. This isn't vague frustration. This is a full-blown player revolt, public, organized, and backed by the NFL Players Association. It all exploded less than 24 hours after Wyatt Teller's emotional exit from the team. But instead of quietly moving on, Browns players decided they were done staying silent. Friday, February 20th, 2026, 4 p.m. Location? Not team headquarters, not a hotel ballroom. The NFLPA offices in downtown Cleveland. That wasn't random. That was symbolic. When reporters walked in, they saw something almost surreal. At the center of the table sat Myles Garrett, the face of the franchise, two-time Defensive Player of the Year. Calm, focused, furious. Flanking him, Jeremiah Osu-Koromoa, Denzel Ward, Nick Chubb, Jedrick Wills, Dalvin Tomlinson, and in a move that shocked everyone, David Njoku, who had already been traded to the Raiders, flew back just to stand with them. 7 respected veterans, offense and defense, multiple Pro Bowlers, all unified. This wasn't emotional chaos. This was calculated. Garrett opened with words that immediately told everyone this was different. "We're here because we have no other choice." He said they had stayed professional for years, stayed quiet, trusted the process, believed if they just focused on football, things would improve. But Wyatt Teller's exit? That was the breaking point. Not because he left, but because of how he left. Garrett described what he called a pattern: instability, ownership interference, constant coaching turnover, and decisions that hurt the team long term. 14 years under owner Jimmy Haslam, 7 head coaches, 2 playoff appearances, 1 playoff win. And then Garrett delivered the line that sent shockwaves across the league. The common denominator in all this failure is your ownership. He looked directly into the camera and publicly asked Haslam to sell the team. Not hinted, not implied, asked him on live television. That just doesn't happen in the modern NFL. Players complain privately, they vent anonymously, they request trades. They do not sit together, union-backed, and demand the owner sell the franchise. But it didn't stop there. Denzel Ward spoke about contract negotiations, claiming players felt personal and medical information was being used as leverage. He said several teammates now feel uncomfortable signing extensions. Nick Chubb, normally one of the quietest stars in football, spoke emotionally about giving everything to the city and wondering if that loyalty meant anything to ownership. Jeremiah Osu-Koromoa broke down the coaching chaos, learning one defensive system, then another, No continuity, no stability, just reset after reset. Jedrick Wills pointed directly at roster mismanagement, questioning how a Pro Bowl guard could be let go for cap reasons while the team still carries massive financial commitments elsewhere. And then came David Njoku, already free, already moved on, but he came back anyway. He described how different things feel in Las Vegas, how stability and respect aren't luxuries there, they're standards. And that contrast, he said, made him realize just how dysfunctional Cleveland had become. Then Myles Garrett took the microphone again. And this is where things escalated from dramatic to nuclear. He gave ownership 72 hours. 72 hours to present a concrete plan, leadership changes, organizational accountability, clear commitments about player treatment and decision-making structure. And if that response doesn't come, we have options, Garrett said. He didn't specify what those options are, but when NFL players say they're consulting with the union about options, that gets attention. Could they skip voluntary workouts, hold out of camp, push for collective action? Legally complicated, financially risky,
but the mere discussion shows how serious this is. The reaction? Immediate. Within minutes, social media exploded. Former NFL stars voiced support. Hall of Famers weighed in. By evening, the league office issued a statement acknowledging the situation and confirming meetings with the NFLPA and Browns ownership. By the next morning, insiders reported that league officials had quietly begun gauging interest from potential ownership groups, just in case. Inside the Browns organization, shock, anger, panic. Reports say Jimmy Haslam was furious watching the press conference live, allegedly calling players disloyal and threatening consequences. But advisors quickly warned him retaliation would only escalate things. The general manager? Caught in the middle. Coaching staff? In an impossible position. And now the clock is ticking. The 72-hour deadline expires Monday morning. Will ownership present meaningful change? Will they dig in and refuse to be pressured? Will the league step in with mediation? Will players escalate if nothing happens? No one knows. And that uncertainty is the most dangerous part. Because this isn't just about one franchise anymore. It's about power. Do modern NFL players have enough collective influence to challenge ownership? Will the league protect one of its owners no matter what? Or will it side with star players who say the system is broken? The Cleveland Browns didn't just have a bad week, they may have reached a historic breaking point. 7 veteran leaders, a union-backed press conference, a public demand that the owner sell the franchise, and a 72-hour ultimatum that could reshape the franchise forever. By Monday morning, we'll know whether this was a dramatic protest or the beginning of the most significant ownership crisis in modern NFL history. And the entire league is watching.